Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Monday, August 21st, 2023. I'd like to begin here with the NASDAQ, and I'm going to start on the 4-hour chart so that I can include the whole picture. But before I begin, I want to make a slight comparison today. As I sit in my office getting ready to make this update, my windows, I sit on top of a hill in San Francisco, and so I get an east view from the back of my house. And as I was finishing the day, the sun was blaring through the windows. Of course, I had the shades, everything drawn. Now, you all know that we've been listening to the tropical storm Hillary, barreled up through Southern California, went through the desert, created a havoc in Palm Springs, and then is quickly moving up. The outer bands of that storm are now moving into the Bay Area, where I'm being told, if I listen to my weather report, that it's supposed to start raining in about 15, 20 minutes. So this tropical storm is moving as fast as NVDA did today, which was quite an amazing thing to watch. Now, if you're an options trader, I know it's going to have nothing to do with what we're talking about here, but if you're an options trader, NVIDIA provided you with glorious premium trades. How? Well, volatility, last I checked, I'll just make it a real quick look here, is at 131%. 131%. These are on options that expire on Friday. Why is it so high? Well, because we've got earnings coming out on Wednesday. Now, I'm already hearing from some people that, well, I may have spoken too fast because, I don't know, we better give this a little bit more room. Maybe your count is not correct, et cetera, et cetera. And that may be true. But if you're not breaking any rules, it kind of came up, further than I would expect it for a small fourth wave. But again, no rules have been broken yet. So what I did remember, though, and what I did say is that, well, we got NVIDIA on Wednesday, and they're still out there plugging it. We still got the CEO, out there somewhere, stumping on, telling everybody how great and how wonderful the company is, how he is, and this miracle chip that they have. Now, that all might just fit in and be perfectly true. But on the inside, I'm hearing something totally different. Not that they're going to be poor, that the earnings are going to be poor, but they're going to be finally somebody to say, well, that's then, this is now, what are you going to do moving forward? Interest rates, remember where they sit in the pecking order. At the top, they control everything. Did anyone happen to notice the bond market today? What the treasuries were doing? What they did in the 30-year? What they did in the 10-year? Did anyone notice that the yield, the rate on the 10-year note clicked to a new high for the sequence? Did anybody take note that the 30-year bond future ticked to a new low for this sequence? Did anyone notice that the 5-year clicking to new lows for this sequence, putting the yield to new highs for this sequence? Doesn't seem that if you were trading NVIDIA that you even cared, right? Not that I expect you to. Algorithms don't care. Perfect. Love it. It's a setup. So what happens moving forward when NVIDIA's got to go out and borrow money? NVIDIA's got to do all this and do with that. And even Apple, by the way, the $2 trillion star of all of our markets, has debt and has to service that debt. So I have belief in NVIDIA. I'm not thinking it's a bad company at all. I'm thinking they've got this chip and this gaming chip and this very fast chip and whatever's entailed within it. And it's a big moneymaker for them. Hallelujah. We all need that. We need an economy that's going to continue to chug along. But what happens if they produce the earnings and everybody goes like, yeah, great, thank you. Moving forward, you're not going to do the same. And they absolutely sit down on the stock. Was this then a setup? Was this now like everybody had to come running back in? and pay 131% volatility to get these calls because they think the stock is going to go above 500. Let me just demonstrate. I know I need to start my update, but I need you guys to really get what's going on. Here we are coming down the 500. So the 500 strike. Now, if you don't understand what a call is, a call gives you the right to purchase 100 shares of NVDA on or before Friday, the 25th of August, for $500 a share. And for that right, you need to pay $14.45 to have the right to purchase 100 shares of stock at $500 a share. Now, the stock is trading right now at 472, maybe now coming off a little bit. It closed at 469.70, we'll call it. And that's probably where that option price came in as well. So let's say you pay $14.45 for the 500 level call. So in essence, I'm the seller. I give that to you. I give you the right to purchase back from me at $500 a share. I'm going to give you the right to purchase 100 shares from me. And you're going to pay me $14.45 for it. What are you paying for the stock? You're paying $514.45. So I sell that to you at $514.45. Pay $469.70. Well, let's say $470. Right? So if you have $514.45 minus $470, that's $44.45 I'm going to get. And that, my friends, is where I would likely be short the put. Well, the put is bid 44 at 44.70. If the stock continues to go up like it is, this put's going to be bid 43 or 42. I buy it, locked. The position is locked. All right. So what I've done, bought and sold the 100 shares of stock. I am totally neutral on the trade. I don't have any risk. Have fun. So this is what dealers are doing all day long. Plus, not necessarily just in the puts, adding the puts to it, but they're selling this call premium, which is how they make money, selling this call premium and buying the stock. 68.5 million shares trade on the day. This is what controlled the NASDAQ. What happens when stuff like that goes on? Well, we get to see Apple, which was down, to returns and start to go up. AMD, which also has a chip and already has reported earnings, which were disappointing. Forward guidance, not really there. Stock nosedived. Well, it's up today. Well, this is going to happen, so that's going to happen, right? So NVIDIA ends up dragging everything up, and so did Tesla. Tesla makes a bounce because there was a Baird, I think it's WR Baird, puts out a recommendation, says, yeah, we're still bullish on the stock, we still like the stock, whatever. But let's not forget that the stock did a nosedive down to 215, 214 last week. So coming off, maybe people were too short. They needed to buy the stock back and whatever the deal was. So Tesla goes up, NVIDIA goes up, Netflix goes up, Microsoft, Meta, all gain on the day. So now everybody's like, okay, bullish, everything's bullish. It's like, no, not necessarily correct. Just a move. And if I look at it on an Elliott basis, which I'm now going to start, it's just a fourth wave. Within an ongoing decline, which will be in a minute 3. Now, but what happens, Michael, if it continues to go up? I'll deal with it when and if it happens. And likely what will happen is the market is going to tell me exactly what is going on. Because on the other hand, we still have, I will admit, as somebody asked me, hey, where's that alternate bullish count? It's still there, but even that has changed in terms of still needing additional downside before even that could jump into play. So it's going to get interesting from here. So my point to all of this today, folks, is one day does not rip apart all of this, does not suddenly turn the market from being overly bearish to being overly bullish. It takes more time. The outlying facts remain in place and are the same. That the interest rate, the credit markets are in chaos. HYG, high yield. HYG, high yield. I mean, and yes, I'm going above and beyond what I really came in here to talk. Check it out. Yep, it rallied, but look at its drop. And again, this is a 4-hour chart. So here we have the 11th. Is this the 11th? No. This is now the 10th of August. So last Thursday, 75. Last Friday, 73. This morning, right? Or overnight. Overnight. 73.71. Should it bounce? Yeah. Is it likely going to go back down? Maybe. We got a 4-hour chart. Is this all going to reverse now and everything's okay? Do you think it's okay? Are mortgages coming down? Is consumer credit not going through the roof? Are people not adding debt to their credit cards? So again, one day in a rally in one stock that carries over to a bunch of other stocks does not change the whole picture. So NASDAQ, can we have additional upside? Of course we can. Do I suspect that it likely will? Yeah, I do. I do suspect that it likely will. And I will review when it happens. And I'll take it from there, because if I have to put, a 3 here and a larger 4, then that's what's going to happen. So there are many different factors that can come in that give the market additional room, the NASDAQ additional room. Because when I get over to the S&P, it's a little bit clearer in the S&P that it likely finished its small wave 4. I'm not putting it here because of NVIDIA. Now, what we still have another day and a half at least, or 2 days, 2 trading sessions, Tuesday, Wednesday, before this company makes their announcements. A lot can still happen. They may take this to $500. I don't know. And anybody who's going to tell you they do, good for you. But I will tell you what I will do, what I did today. Can't say that every single one of my trades was perfect, because it wasn't. But I continue to trade, and I trade both sides. And I try not to get stuck in a short like I did at one point today. But if you close that short, I had to stop, and I had a max level, reached it, close it. I didn't care beyond that point. Get back there and start trading. There are plenty of trades left to do. And you finish the day, nice. You finish the day making a solid P&L. So I am not overly bullish. I am not overly bearish. I'm neither. I trade without a bias. And really, do I make comments on the market? Absolutely. Do I think that the market's a little bit crazy? Absolutely. But who am I? I can go in and trade it. That's the beauty of what I do. And hopefully, even if you're a swing trader or if you're a position trader, you've got your position set up to fit your time frame, to put protection around so that your trade has the time to come into maturity if that's what your position is telling you it needs. So here, I would look for, let's start adding some fibs. And we'll see if indeed wave 4 is complete, because don't forget, it got up to 15,014, we're going to call it. And right now we're trading around a set 14,972. So let's call it the 14 plus 28. Yeah, I can pick up $30, $40. Click your fingers and we're there. But yeah, we'll see what happens. This closes in a minute and then reopens in an hour. We'll see what the market's going to need or not need. All right. So I'm going to put it, I think that we probably have reached 618 is at 15,064. I don't normally expect a fourth wave to come up to 618. And actually, somebody say, well, it's going to overlap wave one. I challenge you to go back out and take a look at it on a closed basis, because the moves are algorithmically controlled now. So there has to be, I'm realizing that there are changes to Elliott and how we count and what becomes acceptable and not acceptable. A couple of things I am pretty firm on, but I will use the closing basis, and that is up even a little bit higher. So I do not want to see it come up all the way up there. It already is or has reached the 50% level. In fact, it got above the 50% level. So it's close. It's close to invalidating the whole picture in terms of 1, 2, 3, and a 4. Now, if it swings, it comes back down, then I'm going to be looking for it to come down probably to 14,526, maybe lower. I don't know. I'm going to take it one day at a time. If it breaks above 15,064 and above all of these levels, 15,057, it will have broken above wave one. And I'm going to have to make some adjustments here. I'm not sure what those adjustments are going to be just right now. So there are many things going on. You know, I took a lot of the internals out because they've already happened and it just clutters up my chart. And I needed that space so that we can see. So I'm going to give this another day. I would anticipate we should have a correction coming down. Now, let me just consider, what is that alternate count and what's it look like, Michael? If indeed this completed a minor fourth wave, right? Could have A, B, 1, 2, not sure how to count all this, 3, 4, 5, maybe, we'll see. Or I got to leave it here and I got to reverse all of this out and somehow work 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is a 5, minor wave 1, we're in a minor 2. So you already see we have alternatives. I'm giving the market the benefit of trying to figure it out, what it needs to do, and then I can figure out what the market is likely going to do. So I do have some choices. I do have choices. This is the way I see it at best right now. But I can put the alternate, which would suggest minor wave 4. Still not fond of that one because I think the depth and what still is to come is it will overtake it. And the fact that the interest rates are not stopping their decline. Bond price decline rate rise. You know, the dollar did not come off that much today. There's still too much out there that's going to go against the stock market beginning to think I got the power and we're just going to move. And if it's a minor 4, go to new highs above 16,062. That's pretty far. Even if NVIDIA blows the doors off of these earnings and just promises, you know, gold nuggets for every shareholder, stock will have limitations. Now, granted, last time they did, and it surprised the market, and the market decided to add $100 to the price of that stock after they reported those earnings. Is that what the market is going to do again? Yet to be determined. So we're leaving it right here. A break. I just showed you. I got two things that possibility it could be. I got a 1, 2. I got a 1, 2, 3. I got a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Possible. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Here's our support. Here's our resistance. If it starts to break, we have continued resistance, and we'll work it from there. Over in the NASDAQ, in the S&P, one last thing that I want to show you. Let me go out to the daily chart on here. The daily chart is sitting just below the 50 moving average. It closed the high today, tipped and gave a kiss to the daily 8. So it's now closed above the daily 4. It had 1, 2, 3, 4 basic down days. We had a big cross there at the bottom. That brought this on as well. There are candlestick patterns, and they're just like, you buy it. And on a daily basis, they did. So we need to get above there. And then the 50 sits above all of that it's really hard for me to tell. 15,085.86 is where I'm going to put it. Now, if the daily manages to get up and close above 15,086, it really is going to change the whole thing and likely leave this as an ABC minor 4. Just saying. So that is there, but we don't have enough to stand on to say that that's what's going to happen. If you only think bullish, you're going to stand on it and go, that's what's going to happen. I'm neither. So I got to wait. I got to wait for the market to tell me. Okay. Over in the S&P, excuse me. Now, mind you, the Dow did end up finishing down today. The Russell did end up finishing down today. Interesting. So the S&P and the NASDAQ, the S&P based on the NASDAQ, right? The Miracle 7 or the Magnificent 7, they're both actually, is what produced it. All right, let's just take a look here at the S&P. The S&P came down. Looks like it did complete that 4. ABC put in that 4. Let me just see how high it got today. Well, just above 382. So here I have the S&P, the counterpart or the closest cousin to the NASDAQ based on the common stocks within it, components, got to the 382 level and closed back below it. So you put a 4, looking for the next turn, looking for it to come back down and finish this minute wave 3. So I take that off. Now we're coming back, minute wave 3. So where should minute wave 5 find some support? Well, we can put this on. Oops, got to change this. So you can't do this in the NASDAQ, but I can do it here. So what's it tell us? The NASDAQ's going to run all by itself? No, that I don't see. So let me go and edit inside this thing right now and finish this up. Oop, right there, 2.618. Put this like that and say okay. All right, so equality, that's our first point that we look at. Minuet wave 5 as compared to minuet wave 1, they should equal. That's the most common. 43.35. Is that going to get us below 43.50? Sure is. Now, 43.35 can become a major level because, to my understanding, the RSI would also kind of bottom out and look like about 43.40 might be where it kind of gets to, or the index. So 43.35 on a push, that fits. So we have 43.35, and then underneath that I have 43.25, and then under that. So the first one is equality. The second one is 618. Not going to be looking for 43.68 because I needed to come in further to break that low to complete the pattern. So what comes after 100% is 1.618, and that's at 42.82. So here's my support levels in the S&P coming off. 43.35, 43.25, 42.91 or 92, 42.82. And if it really starts to give a big collapse, if something should happen overnight and the whole world just kind of goes and pukes on itself, well, then we're looking at these levels down here. And I'm not joking. One day in one stock or in a group of stocks called the Magnificent Seven does not turn the market solidly into the opposite direction. And just my observation. So, moving averages, still all pretty much pointing down. We have the 4 and the 8. They're going to respond, of course, as they should. Let's look at the daily in this guy. I'm sure it's a green little bar. Yep, not bad. Kissing the 4, the daily 4. So in the NASDAQ, it's kissing the daily 8. Where's the 50? The 50 is up at 44.44, 46. Still a good push away. So here's where we're getting that dichotomy. We're getting that argument. We're getting that, gee, what really is going on? Well, then you got to take that step back and you've got to look at, well, what's moving? Well, one stock, which is taking a bunch of other ones with it. The Magnificent Seven, everybody's going together here, can't be left alone. But it's doing it against the backdrop of higher interest rates, bond market in a pretty serious downtrend right now. Whether it's bottoming or not, it's still moving down. The Dow, lower. The Russell, lower. Was pulled higher because of the commonality. We have stocks that are common to all indexes. The Dow was down far more than this during the day. The NASDAQ was down. The S&P was down. The NASDAQ never hit negative territory, but it clipped off 160 points before it decided to go back up. So this is where I'm going to end it. We still got 2 days to go before those earnings. I'm taking it day by day. This is what I see today. This is what I'll look for tomorrow. We're given levels. Have a great trading day tomorrow. Now, again, let me just take a look. We do have, I think, only one existing. Oh, we do have a couple of other things. We got a bunch of Fed governors, right? Okay, great. Well, because they're all in Jackson Hole right now. Yay. So they're taking a little summer holiday in the mountains. And so we got Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin starting to speak at 7:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Existing home sales at 10 a.m. Not really think it's going to be much unless it comes in way below 4.15 million. Because don't forget, mortgages are really climbing up, the interest rates. At 2:30 p.m., we have Chicago Fed Goolsbee and Fed Gov Michelle Bowman. Bowman. So we got all three Fed talking tomorrow, and that could give a peak. So I don't know if they're sending out the hawks or they're sending out the doves, but we'll find out. All right, have a great evening. Next update will be on Tuesday, August the 22nd.